today's topic. So what I'll be focusing on is married filing joint individuals. Oftentimes, we don't file together because of an obligation that our spouse may have. So we may choose to file married filing separate. Now, married filing separate, it's not a very beneficial status to claim because first thing first, you don't get to claim your credits and your deduction that you would ordinarily claim if you were filing any other status. Whereas the married filing joint, it gives you the maximum standard deduction possible, which is $24,400, and you're able to claim all the credits and the deductions that are beneficial to you. The one downfall is if your spouse has, back taxes or they owe any obligations to anyone, any agency, then you're treated as one. And when I say obligation, I'm referring to if they owed taxes in the past to federal, state, or local, or back child support or delinquent on their student loan. These are obligations that, it doesn't matter if you're filing joint or not, they treat you as one when that return comes in. So what it means to be joint, it's a shared responsibility. The IRS doesn't necessarily see you as separate, they see you as together. So whatever is on that return is joint. You guys share this. However, because of what has happened in the past where, one spouse is being not tortured, but being assessed the penalties that the other spouse should have ordinarily been assessed just by themselves because one spouse is not responsible for all of that. The IRS has given us the opportunity to say, hey, that is not my tax liability, or I did not know that that individual or my spouse was, claiming such or not claiming such. So what the IRS refers to that as is injured spouse and innocent spouse. Though they're often confused, they are not the same, and they have to be treated differently because of the outcome and what it may be, regarding. So the first one is injured spouse. Injured spouse, you are an injured spouse if you file a joint return with your spouse and your spouse have back taxes that they may owe to a government agency, and you were both due a refund, but because of what was owed on your spouse's end, your refund is consumed by the debt that was owed. However, if you know that this is not a shared responsibility, you can step in and communicate with the IRS using Form 8379 saying, hey, that's not mine, that's his or hers, and please relieve me of this and send me back my portion of the refund that's due to me. And that's simply it. But the way the IRS assess this is they'll look at it separately. They'll look at your income versus his or hers income. And that applies to what was withheld, if you paid estimated taxes or self-employment taxes. Credit's the same. It's determined based on the income and what was withheld from your taxes. So when you file your return electronically, you can also file it with it, so you don't have it delayed and the money's not taken and then put back, because that adds time to it. However, just like any other documents that's required by the IRS or amendment, it does take a little time. So if you file the Form 8379 with your taxes electronically, it will take a little time, about 11 weeks for them to process. Whereas if you mail it in paper with your return, it will take about 14 weeks. While if you file it after you filed your return, it will take about an additional 8 weeks. So let's say this occurred to you last year or the year before, you're able to retroactively file this form and say to the IRS, hey, in these situations, these were not my tax liability. These were not my debt, so please relieve me of my spouse's obligation and send me back my portion of the refund that is due to me. And you can do this for up to 2 years. You can work it back 2 years. So that means 2018 and 2017, you can file this if it applies to you. The next one is innocent spouse. So that's what it means, innocent. You're telling them that, I did not know this was taking place. And this is an intense form to file with the IRS because at this point, whatever occurred has reached either civil or criminal penalties to your spouse, if that's the case, if it's just your spouse's responsibility. And simply you're saying that you're saying to the IRS that I did not know that they omitted to report their income, or I did not know that they were writing off tax deductions that they're not supposed to, or claiming things that they're not supposed to, and at the same state they're intentionally doing so, and that's why it would have reached criminal or civil intent. So how you can go about this is, and literally you need to file this if you want to claim your innocence with the IRS. You will file form 8857 letting them know that, I am innocent in all of this. I did not know as of the signing date that this took place. You have to be able to prove that you did not know that this was taking place. This is why you cannot just not report your income or just claim something because you want to claim it, because in the end it does come back to affect either you, or if you're filing joint, both of you. So that's pretty much it. And I just want to recap on what I just touched on. So when you are married filing joint and one spouse has obligations that is not shared, when I say not shared, I mean both of you guys are not responsible for it. One individual is. If only one individual is responsible for the obligation, you are able to communicate with the IRS saying, I am an injured spouse, or I am an innocent spouse. So injured spouse is simply telling them that, they have debts that are before my time, or they incurred debt last year that it's not my responsibility to pay. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to relieve me of whatever you assess that individual and send me back my refund. And they'll assess it separately. Whereas innocent spouse is when it gets to the intense level, your spouse have omitted income. They've claimed things that they're not supposed to claim. You're telling the IRS that through this all, I am innocent. I don't know what's going on here. I didn't know what was going on, essentially. So that is pretty much it. I'll be here for about the next minute if anyone has any questions. And this was an intense topic because a lot of individuals, believe it or not, go through this situation.